G'day folks, and welcome back to another video interview, once again with Play and Go for another anticipated release. And I thought that we'd introduce today's guest with some quick fire questions, just like last time. What's your name and role at Play and Go?
My name is Magnus, and I'm the games ambassador for Play and Go.
How long have you been in the company for?
Soon 8 months. I started in the middle of May this year.
What's your favorite slot from Play and Go?
I always liked Royal Masquerade a lot. I think the sounds are just so amazing in that game.
Royal Masquerade, that's the one that's similar to Pimped, right?
Yes,
Where you can
exactly.
do the one line, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can configure it to one line, and it has the win spins during the free spin feature.
Yeah. What's your favorite slot from another provider?
That has to be Fruit Warp by Thunderkick.
Old classic.
Yes.
Legacy of Dead or Book of Dead?
I think Legacy of Dead.
Rise
It
of
can
Olympus.
save you. It can save you if you have, if you're unlucky and get like the tens or something in the free spins, and then you manage to re-trigger it and get something else.
Right, yeah, I'm the same there. Rise of Olympus or Moon Princess?
Moon Princess.
Low volatility or high volatility?
I think high. I tend to like the games that have high volatility. They generally offer more potential, obviously, but the game mechanics are more interesting.
Last one, if you would have to put this new Moon Princess Power of Love, rank it in the saga with all the Rise of Olympus games and Moon Princess games, where would you put it?
I think it's going to compete with the Moon Princess 100 game.
All right.
I think it's going to be there at the top.
Great to hear, and great to have you here, Magnus. You said you worked as a games ambassador. What more does that entail? What do you do, like, specifically for a game like this?
I spend a lot of time with the other teams, like with marketing and with the account managers and the other parts of the commercial team. I look after the games, look after the roadmap to see what we are having and inform the other teams. I do game demos with our external clients as well to show them what they have to expect for the upcoming months.
All right, like with the operators, with the casinos themselves.
Exactly. And then there is also some support with the analysis and looking at the data for promotions we're having and suggesting games.
We had your colleague George here a while back, at that point discussing Gargantunes, and in previous Reactoons sequels, our community has not been that positive. They're always like, we want the old Reactoons, we want the OG. But for Gargantunes, this latest one, we haven't heard as much of that. It seems to have been quite appreciated. From your point of view, how has that release been received?
It was amazing. It was a very good release, and I really liked it as well from the first time I saw it. I think that we managed to keep the essence of Reactoons and building on top of it. So this game was streamlined around wilds with different features. Also, the increasing win multiplier that you can spawn Gargantuan with is nice. And final thing, I would say it's very nice how the sequence, the final, when you spawn in Gargantuan and it goes from small, medium to the biggest.
Instead of vice versa.
Exactly. I think that is much better because it all work up to like a crescendo, to a final blow.
It felt like a very complete release where the best of all the previous ones really combined nicely in that one. Probably one of the more popular sequels we have seen from our community. It's kind of just like when a book goes into a movie or whatever. It's never very appreciated because people
no, exactly, going to step on somebody's toes. It's a difficult mission.
And I mentioned the Gargantunes because just like Gargantunes, this Moon Princess Power of Love is another sequel in maybe an equally legendary saga. This time 2 princesses are introduced to win the princess love's heart. Perhaps a natural development in the story, but how did it come about? And can we expect that this is like the start of a saga where all of the princesses get their standalones?
I think so as well, because I think that's the development of the series. We have seen multiple different games, including all 3 of them, and this was the first branch of focusing on the storyline on one of them.
I personally love when a game gets standalone, so focusing on different characters. I think think you can do a lot with that.
Yeah,
Kicking it off
absolutely.
here.
And I think that Play and Go, we are really good at this world building and the in-depth story that is created behind each game.
We always talk about the risks as well of making sequels, like we just talked about. Early 2023, you released Moon Princess Trinity,
Yep.
which it was like a toned down version of the previous ones, and from the feedback we have received, we can conclude that it wasn't quite as popular as the previous ones either. Perhaps you guys have a different view, but what have you done with Moon Princess Power of Love to improve on the game while also staying true to its core?
So yeah, I agree that the Trinity version is a bit of a toned down version. You don't have the same kind of potential with the features that work together as you have if you compare to Moon Princess 100. And what Power of Love have contained from the 100 game is the different mechanics, but also introduced 2 new characters. I would say that another very big difference is that during the free spins, you remember in Moon Princess 100, you have 3 volatility options. The volatility is not as spread from like the high to the low. They are like more centralized in this game, but instead we will always see Love triggering her power, which is upgrading a random symbol each time the chosen prince that you select for the free spins do their power.
It's an interesting move because like you mentioned, in Prisons 100, you had the 3 different volatility options, and even though I kind of like the other features, especially the storm one, I like that
Yeah.
feature, but if you choose it, you're also like actively choosing lower volatility, which I'm not a fan of.
Mhm.
So I do like it when there's you have different choices, but they might not affect the outcome as much, or at least the volatility level.
Exactly. I suspect that because we have the 2 different features, one which is synchronizing 2 reels, like it chooses 1 out of 5 reels, synchronizes it, make like an identical copy either to the left or right if there is not like the one at the end, and the other one creates 2 to 5 symbols. So I imagine that the one that creates 2 to 5 symbols is going to be slightly more volatile, but not like effectively so much.
Mm. Since
Considering
the
if you make,
synced one guarantees the connections more, or
I suspect that if you take the one that creates 2 to 5, you can have the possibility to make like high paying symbols that spread out, to have a higher chance of creating 5, but it can also be like swing and a miss where you don't get anything.
the thing is we have a lot of people asking when we play the Moon Princesses games, or Rise of Olympus. They A lot of people say that it doesn't matter which of the 3 you pick, it's a predetermined outcome anyway. But like how much does it matter which one you pick in games like that? Does it affect the outcome all that much? In the long run, I guess it doesn't, but
I think it does absolutely, because in one of them you will have the more powerful feature, but you get less spins, and in the other side of the spectrum you get more spins but with a less powerful feature. Also, if we connect back to Moon Princess 100, you will get more free spins. When you fill the gauge, which you see at the bottom left. So in that sense, if you manage to fill it, you will be rewarded with a higher price.
more, yeah. Do you know which one is most popular overall in those
No,
previous games?
I unfortunately I don't.
When we do our streams and we pick anything else than the highest volatility option, people get very upset. So I do
Really,
suspect it's love.
I like the one that creates the wilds.
Yeah. You released a lot of sequels lately on it as well. Sweet Alchemy 100, the
Yep.
latest one, Viking Runecraft 100, and
Raging Rex 3.
Raging Rest 3 was a very probably my favorite sequels, because the new bonus it added was a step forward, and you could really feel how much more volatile that was with the hold and win type.
Yes.
Bonus was a lot of fun. But what I was getting at is that, these reskins, they're a lot of fun because you get to see it in a new light.
Yep.
But I think that Moon Princess Power of Love could, that will become its own game in another way, as it has totally different features, but
Yes.
still remains kind of true to the game itself.
Yes, the overarching mechanics of the game, like how you fill the gates for like the Trinity spins or what you want to call them. In this game, it's going to be called Love Triangle instead.
Yep.
Like those features are the same, but then we have changed up how the features in the game work. So I think it's going to be interesting for a lot of players who like the Moon Princess 100 game to try this one out as well.
We've seen more sequels to Moon Princess than Rise of Olympus. How popular is the anime theme in slots? It looks very popular.
Yeah, if I see to myself, when I was growing up, we had like Sailor Moon showing on the TV like on Sunday, and me and my neighbors used to watch it. So because of that, I like the Moon Princess more than Rise of Olympus, to connect to your previous question. But I think it varies a lot as well. You know, different markets, different types of players like different teams, as it always is.
I know when we had George here last time, he was a Rise of Olympus guy. So
yeah.
It differs a lot, but I can also see from our viewers that Moon Princess is definitely more popular. That whole theme is it's a bit niche, but people who love it really loves it. I don't really have more questions to you here. I'm very excited to get my hands on the game. The release date was
25th of January.
25th of January. Looking forward to that. Thanks a lot for talking with us today, Magnus. We'll catch up after the release and for coming games to see how it went.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely. Gonna be a blast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.